Good morning from deepest, darkest Wales. The sun is in the sky, it's so bright, it's making the sky an icy blue, it's bouncing off the hills, making them this traditional, vibrant, very Welsh green. The sea is a steely grey. It's also, if I may, fucking cold. Happy New Year! Oh, when's it too late to say Happy New Year? I hope it's treating you well so far in 2024. What a mad few years it's been. I genuinely have no wishes for this year other than for it to be normal. Special feels like a goal, and I'm not doing goals this year, we're just doing intentions, because intentions takes the pressure off. But yeah, just like an element of normality, I'd like for things to be a bit chill. Here's to a chill new year. It's not to say I haven't set any goals or wishes, I just feel like goal is such a lofty word where it's like a target you have to meet, and that's a lot of pressure to put on yourselves when you're still recovering from 2 weeks of sitting in front of the telly watching Taskmaster on loop. So when we were setting our intentions back in Yule, we decided to make them as vague as physically possible, and I would say I succeeded. Primarily it's all just in the pursuit of slightly normal things where I'm looking after myself and looking after the people around me, and everything's quite nice. One of those things is I'm starting to journal again. Shall I show you? Cut to that. So isn't it a lovely journal, little monstera on the front cover? You open it up and I've written my name, and then, you know, there's a bit of a diary of things that are going on. I copied this wholesale when I Googled it on Pinterest. There's Pink. And then also, these are some movies, classics that I've never seen, movies that I'm looking out for this year. More on that next week. And then, yeah, I'm just going to sort of keep track on them. Yeah, this looks like fun. I just like to sit down and draw things, to be honest. There goes Pink. I haven't bullet journaled for a while. I just find the whole process to be quite meditative, sitting down, colouring in, getting your pens out, drawing a straight line. I find in my adult age I have so few excuses for writing down. Just tip-tap away. It's not the same as a pen scraping across some paper. I'm thinking about learning to drive. So look, a couple of years ago, I started a long distance relationship, and that meant a lot of train travel in 2023, and I resent being at the mercy of Avanti West Coast. The train line have their like wrapped facsimile because boardrooms across the country see something working and need their own version of it, and you know what? It works on me. I'm basic. Please, Tesco, tell me I'm in the 0.1% of avocado buyers in the country, and that's why you won't give me a loan for my mortgage. We'll get onto that. It's fun to look at, and the train lines one is based on like CO2 emissions, and I care very deeply about the climate crisis and, you know, making positive changes to limit our personal impact on the environment because, well, we can't trust the fuckers at the top to stop their bullshit now, can we? But, however, also, this winter, I did take a trip to Manchester, little weekend visit, where I picked a train that was going to take an extra couple of hours to circumvent having to need to use Avanti, because I resent them, and then I found out a couple of hours before we got on the train that it was cancelled. On the one hand, at least I knew they gave us advance notice so we could prepare, and we were able to get the next one. It's just that when the next one arrived, it had to accommodate everyone from our train, the cancelled one, and they made the absolutely exquisite decision to take an 8-carriage train and use 4 of them. So to sum up, we had to take 16 carriages worth of passengers, squeeze them onto 4, and take a long-ass trip to Crewe. Add in a toilet that was declared out of use, and I'm officially in my rabid nationalisation era. Meanwhile, on the way back from Aber this weekend, we had some rail works going on. Fair enough, that meant a rail replacement bus service, which took 2 hours, followed by a second train that took 2 hours, which kicked us off before our final destination because of a trespasser on the line, so we had to spend an extra few hours just hanging around in Birmingham, and nobody wants to do that, even people from Birmingham. Once that was all cleared, we felt we had to wait a little bit longer to allow all of the people who had been hovering around in Birmingham waiting for a train through to London to get on those trains so that we weren't all just packed on like little sardines in a tin hurtling down. Thrillingly, the tube strike got cancelled as we were pulling into London, so we didn't have to deal with that. But once we walked in, I realised that from time leaving Aberystwyth to time walking back into our house was 8 hours, and that is so long. Plus with the constant noise and the rattling about and the being at the mercy of other passengers. There were some teenagers who brought naughty cigarettes on the train and started smoking them in the bathroom, and I don't mean to be a prude, but I fail to see how that is cool. So yeah, driving sounds fun. I won't be buying a car. I mean, the public transport system in London is absolutely fantastic, and I don't need one day to day. But for the occasional longer journey, especially when I'm dealing with the West Coast lines and their unreliable, overheated trains that tilt when they go into a bend and make me feel a bit sick, I feel like, and maybe this is me reaching, desperate for an excuse, and maybe this is why people think I'm a Lib Dem, but I feel like renting an electric car and driving up north or across the valleys into darkest Wales just once every couple of months, not even a regular thing, I don't see that as the most unreasonable choice. I feel like I can still be planet conscious and
get to use the bathroom once in a goddamn while.
The good thing about a vague intention is that you're not beholden to any specific lofty goal. The bad thing is it does allow you a lot of room for excuses, and excuses are my favourite thing. One of my goals is to, quote, take better care of my health, which, given the way I've behaved for the last year, is a low bar. Of course, looking after my health is all well and good, but I've decided to consort with a family of runners, which does put everything into perspective. I do like parkrun. It's a lovely way of people to share their exercise, to find a community, to get out and be active. It's not a cult. Anything that makes people actively get out and do this level of exercise first thing in the morning in the middle of January when it's been flooding, and as I can not stress enough, it is so cold. I'm just saying, they're pretty evangelical about it, and Saturday Kitchen's on.
Another intention is to be a fucking grown-up and sort myself out financially. January is a difficult month for freelancers. Well, the disorganised ones anyway. You've got December, which can be a really expensive month for everybody. It can also be a lucrative month in my line of work, but you also have to do tax in January, and you know that the first few months of the year are going to be fairly dry because the financial year is coming to an end. So if you've had a lean month, as I did last year, it can cause more than its fair share of headaches. Plus, it does take at least 30 days for invoices to get paid, if you're lucky, and that's from the date the invoice is submitted, not even from the date the work is agreed or even completed. And then, some invoices take even longer. I actually have had work where the invoice payment period has been 90 days, which is frankly heinous. And you can charge late fees, but I'm one tiny little man. So if I say to a company, okay, I'm gonna have to charge you a late fee, and they say no, what am I supposed to do? I look like a bit of a mug. I've developed a bit of a cash flow problem, which is I've done the work, I just haven't received the cash for it yet. But in that period where I'm waiting for the cash, I need to spend money on things like, you know, living. So you're constantly playing catch up with yourself. Imagine if you signed on for a job and they didn't pay you for like 2 months of your first working period. That's being a freelancer, and it's deeply irritating, and I need to take more positive steps to get in control of that. That's where I can be better. And also I have to acknowledge that I have a bit of a fear of money, which is a very weird thing to try and articulate and explain, but finances, money, credit, all of that stuff, it gives me the collie wobbles. But also, I'm a Capricorn baby, which means I constantly undervalue myself in every sense of that word, and at the same time, I'm trying to keep up with everybody else. So you don't have to be a maths whiz to realise that's not going to work out long term. I guess what I'm trying to say is, please forgive me if you see a large amount of spontent across my various channels. It's just that I've got to, how do the kids say, get that coin. Because this is also the last year of my tenancy, and rents everywhere are going up. I need to sort of stay close to town because it's where a lot of my work happens. And as a self-employed person, getting everything from a credit card to a loan can be incredibly difficult. You're like 3 steps harder, let alone a new flat in a competitive rental market during a housing crisis. I don't want to engage in like hustle culture where every aspect of my life has to be monetized in some way, but I think there's probably something in between hustle culture and a crippling fear of backing myself. And maybe the thing in between those two things is a line of scented candles. Perhaps I could write a Christmas book. It's just something worth thinking about. Also, we want to get a dog. So that's something to factor into my end of year target. We'll have a recap of my intentions at the end of the year. We'll sit down, we'll light our Daniel J. Layton scented candles, we'll eat our Daniel J. Layton gingerbread, and we'll have a look at my intentions from Yule 2023 and see how well we did. That sounds like fun. Hold me to it.
Another of my resolutions is to sort of be more proactive in learning things, a language, for instance, Welsh. And I think I'm doing very well because I can understand the second half of this sentence. That's a very good piece of comedy. It's a very good piece of comedy.